that position, so make sure you start doing that. Jonathan doesn't give notes, I give notes, so you got that. That, if you do that and watch the video, of course, there's things I say that's not on the notes, so I would suggest going on there and watching. I know it's hard to look at me that long, just, maybe just.
Are there any exceptions if we get coronavirus? Are there any exceptions if we get coronavirus?
All right, let's go to the Word of God.
It's in Rome.
God, he was speechless.
Proverbs. It is FCBS. It's YouTube.
On YouTube, yeah.
Yeah, just search FCBS and you'll see the college logo come up and all the lessons are on there.
And
It usually takes a few weeks to download.
it takes me a while. Sometimes it depends on how busy I am. Sometimes I'll get them up the next day, but then it might be another week. But subscribe, that way you get notified when I put them on there. And also like the Facebook, we've got FCBS on Facebook also, and because I'm gonna start sharing links when I release them. That way everybody knows.
All right, I gave everybody a schedule. All right, so this is not Brother Jonathan, I say that, man, it's my brother-in-law. Brother Jonathan, Dr. Barker, it doesn't have him on here because he normally gets someone to fill in for him. That's the way he does. I kind of like teaching them all, so it's just, I know my train of thought, how I'm going, and so I just like to do that. So you'll see on here, I've got meetings where I'm going to be gone, so I'll be doing 2 lessons. A lot of places I put when I would not be here, I put absent. And the 2 lessons. But next week there'll be no class. You are invited to come over to Thanks Calvary. Brother Eric Justice is going to be preaching. The Morrison sisters are going to be there singing Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday night. So we're going to have a good meeting next week. You're welcome to come 7 o'clock. Proverbs 13. Yes.
The homework for your class, is it going to be due week 10, or because there's no? Have you changed that?
Yeah, I just put week 10 for
week
mine.
10, fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Brother Jonathan said at the end of the thing.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, week 10, that way I can get it back to you and let you know what your grade is.
Okay.
All right, Proverbs 13, verse 11. There are so many verses, and I'm going to try to pull out some during this 12 lessons, that there's so many verses on money. It's amazing. I challenge you to go do your own study on it, and you'll just be shocked at how much the Bible talks about. Last week's lesson, money, a secret. All right, money, a secret subject. It is a secret. Tonight, this first lesson, I want to deal with money, a struggle. Money, a struggle. Here's what the Bible said in Proverbs 13, verse 11. Wealth gotten by vanity, okay, wealth gotten by vanity shall be diminished, or will dwindle. It'll go away, okay? But notice this, but he that gathereth by labor shall increase. Amen. Wealth gotten by vanity shall be diminished, but he that gathereth, and when you think about gathering, anybody ever plant a garden? You go in and you gather those. That means a little, you start with a squash here, cucumber. Next thing you know, you got a couple buckets full. Okay? Little by little, taking a little here, taking a little here. There's a great principle here about saving money. And that's what I want to deal with tonight, the struggle. Why am I poor? Okay? And y'all turned in the anonymous things last week. I talked to some of you about that. Some of you were real open about it, and that's fine. But looking through those, for the most part, I mean, unless y'all are just lying, there's hope for everybody in here. And that's a blessing. So I hope you didn't lie to me. If you did, I don't care. All right, I told you it didn't matter if you want to turn it in or not. But what do you think of when the word money is said? When you hear the word money, I mean, the dollar signs, you remember the old cartoons when the dollar signs would come up in the eyes, cha-ching, what do you think of? Does money talk? Does money make the world go round? I mean, these are statements that we hear. What would your life be like if there were no money? How often do you think about money? Our wives, that you give them a debit card, they don't even think about it. Just when they need something, swipe. Oh, that's so annoying to me. But I think about money on a daily basis. You say, are you money mad, money hungry? No, but I just try to keep it in my priority. I try, because my own family is important to me, and not just for us, but I want to be able to get to a point where I can give more to the work of God, give more alms.
Yeah. Amen.
Amen. If I see a family, would it not be awesome if you were in such financial shape that somebody in your church gave a testimony, you know, that they were struggling, and you could just walk up to them after service and write them a check for $1,000 and not even blink an eye?
Amen.
Wouldn't that be
Amen.
amazing?
Yes,
Amen.
Not so they could pat you on the back, or maybe you would even, I know a lot of, I've got folk in our church that they'll come up to me and say, here's an envelope with some cash, go give it to, you know who. And they don't want to be known. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
And Dave Ramsey, his first edition, I don't know about these later editions, but I know in his podcast, when he talks, he's got this thing, if you'll live like no one else, you can live like no one else.
Mm-hmm.
And then what he means, he's talking about getting crazy in your, in your house. Has anybody listened to any podcasts since last week? Good. I challenge you to keep doing that. If you live like no one else, you can live like no one else. And that's all he used to say. But you know what he says now? If you live like no one else now, you can live and give like no one else in the future. And he has changed it even. And a man that went bankrupt, he took on the idea that you had to, go into debt to make money, and he went bankrupt, and now 25, 30 years later, he's worth $200 million. His principles work, and they're biblical principles. How would the world be different if all the money were equally shared? We got a man right now running for Democratic nomination who's an idiot. Amen. He's an idiot. He's a communist. And he's a comrade. Amen.
That's true.
And the thing I want to ask him tonight, Super Tuesday, when you get home and they count all the delegates, and he wins most of them because that's what they're projecting. Bernie, don't you think we need to take all those delegates you got and let's
Even them out.
spread them out over all the ones that are still in the
That's
race?
true.
Yeah.
That's the concept.
Yeah.
I mean, what this past quarter, some of you made 9,900 on your final grade. Some of you made not so much that. So what if we take those that made 99 and those that made 70, and we just take points off of those and bring those 70s up to in the mid 80s and bring those 99s and 100s down into the mid 80s?
Yeah.
Oh, that's what we need to do, because keep everybody happy. No, you know what would happen? The ones that made 100 last quarter, they're not going to try this quarter.
No.
Because they know that that's going to be given, and that's exactly what's going to take place in a socialistic country. Is that the people that are working to innovate and create? Well, I say that word, that's not a good word, but work hard to come up with ideas. They're going to stop because you're taking it from them. Amen. I'm a capitalist. Yes,
Amen.
I am.
Yes,
Without
sir.
apology. And that's the way our nation has been great and is the greatest right now. But I've seen it economically. It's still morally not where it needs to be, but economically, I thank God for where we're at.
Amen.
Amen. Now, what's the best way of making a lot of money? What's the best way of making a lot? How important is money to you? Don't be so spiritual.
Yeah.
Money's important.
Yeah. Amen.
But don't be obsessed, because the love, not money, but the love of money is the root of all evil.
Yeah.
Okay? So don't be obsessed. The subject of finances is one of the most important subjects you can ponder. And I want to deal with this struggle here for the next few minutes, and I've got a lot of points, and I'll try to get them all in. If I don't get everything elaborated on, I'll give you the notes, and you can go on and read. And these are just some things I've been putting on paper the last few weeks, and things about struggling financially. The reason why a person would have no money is pretty straightforward. But sometimes the approach is needed that if you're going to face your financial situation, you got to do it realistically. A lot of folks struggle with that question: why can't I save money? Why can't I save money? You ever feel like your bank account's a bucket with a hole in it? Every time you put something in, it goes out faster than you put it in?
Yeah.
Come on, let's just be honest. I made a deposit yesterday, and I looked just a second ago at my bank account, and I wrote all my bills out yesterday. I do that. I told y'all to do that first of the month. I get paid on first a lot. On the first of the month, I save and then pay everything. And man, it's just, I'm like, man. So, I face this. Want to save more money. Want to have more for my children to have when I'm gone, and when my grandchildren, be able to do for them. I believe the first thing a person needs to do when it comes to improving their financial situation, such as getting out of debt, because that should be your first priority.
Amen.
It ought to be, first of all, just to realize that you're stuck.
Yeah.
If you don't realize you're stuck, you're not going to want to get out of it.
That's right.
And so, if you don't know what your problem is, it's going to be hard to make a positive change. Once you confront the reason of why you are stuck and why you have no money, then you'll be able to make a plan to get out of that rut. And I know a lot of things in life cost money, but I believe learning how to save money, improving your financial situation, can help most people reach their dreams in the physical, earthly realm. And I still believe we ought to dream on the earthly side. I know we're put our treasures in heaven, but at the same time, I want to be somebody that is able to do for my family, able to do for my church, and able to do for my neighbor in need. And that's why you want money. That other stuff of just accumulation, moth-ridden, rust-corrupted stuff, that ain't what I'm talking about at all. I'm talking about making sure your family's secure, making sure you're being a blessing to your church, and making sure that you can be a blessing to those that are in need. That is the motivation of money. Why are households that make 6 figures struggling financially? Why? What? I mean, 6 figures. We shouldn't be struggling making 6 figures. I love listening to the podcast because it helps me.
Yeah.
And I've been doing Ramsey for about 9 years now, trying to live according to the principles in this book. And I love listening to the podcast still because guess what? It encourages me. Don't make that decision again. You get a little freedom. How many of y'all have ever done this? You pay something off and you got a couple $100 in the budget, and the next thing you know, something gets real shiny in the distance.
Oh yeah.
Sure.
That's true.
Well, we just paid that off, and I've got $200 extra a month. And you go over and sign on the dotted line. And I fight it every day of my life. Well, not every day, but I fight this every year, every month, that I don't have to have that.
Yeah.
Don't you remember what it was like? See, I'll just be honest, can I tell y'all? The highest I ever got in credit card debt, I had over $9,000 in credit card debt.
Mm.
Yes. When Rebecca and I first got married, and I'll just tell you why, ministry. We got married, I was 20, she was 18. We were dumber than a box of rocks. And I made some stupid decisions. I had 2 vehicles that were paid for, but they were both older, and they both had more miles. Well, guess what? We had the idea. Rebecca didn't work. She stayed at home with, she was going to be a stay-at-home mom, as she was for all the years the kids were there. And we had this idea. We didn't need 2 vehicles. We only needed 1. So we took 2 paid-for vehicles, sold them, and put the money on a new vehicle. And I went to work for my dad, working full-time at Bright Light. My bring home for the month when we got married was $950 a month. And then after about 6 months, I got a raise, and my bring home was around $1,150 a month. And they paid for my insurance, which was good. So we were married, and we had $1,150 a month coming in. Y'all praying for me now. And I'll just tell you the bottom line: we didn't make it. We had, and I didn't know these principles, and I didn't know anything about budgeting. And I'm just being real transparent with y'all right now, but as a 21, 22-year-old feller, we started using some plastic occasionally. $50 here. Honey, we ain't got no money. Well, just take a credit card and go to Food Line and get us $50 worth of groceries. $50. $50. Out the window I go. Y'all hear me? Y'all know. Some of y'all know what I'm talking about. And we'd swipe that card, and guess what? 30 added up. And we didn't have no money, but man, I sure would like to go out on a date tonight. And $30.
Yeah.
And over time, it accumulated.
That's right.
And about 1.5 years in at Walters Grove, boom, my head exploded one day. And I got a plane. And you know what happened? In less than 10 months, we paid off $9,000 in credit card bills. I went nuts. Didn't even know anything about Dave Ramsey. Just come up with my own plan. And we paid that off. And you know what we've never had since I was 24 years old? You know what I have never had since? Never.
Credit card.
I have never, ever had that credit card in my pocket again.
Amen.
Ever. You say, do you have some? Yes, I do, but I've got one right now with BB&T. And because I got it, I had the money I thought for Lydia's wedding, but I said, I'm going to get this so we make sure we got it. And you know what? Never touched it. Cut the card up when I got it because all I had to do is just transfer it over. And you know what? Never used it. Then I went back and closed the account. Y'all hearing this?
Amen.
Man.
Because it's stupid.
Yeah.
It's stupid. And so I'm just telling you, you don't need that stuff. People buying Christmas presents with credit cards
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that their kids break the day after Christmas.
Yeah. Right.
And they're going to pay on it for days to come.
Yeah.
And their kid broke it the day after Christmas. Going on vacations with credit cards.
Honeymoon.
I'm just telling the truth. Why are households with two people working, making over 6 figures, struggling and living week to week? Why is that? One word. It's 4-letter word. Debt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all it is. And so there's many that are, and you don't have to be, you don't have to make less than $10,000 a year to be poor.
That's right.
You can make $100,000 a year
That's true.
and be living in stress and
That's
poor
right.
and not having extra. And
Yeah.
when the washing machine breaks, you don't know where the money's coming from. And if Junior has a abscess tooth and you got to go pay the dentist $400, and what are you going to do? Because you don't have an emergency fund and you
Yeah.
don't have anything set back where, oh man, I just lost my job and you can't find one for 2 months and you didn't have 6 months emergency fund set aside for that. All that's in your book. All that's in that book. And it's important. So let me give you some reasons why folks struggle financially. Number one, because they believe they have lots of time left to pay off their debt.
Yeah.
That's the number one reason. I'm young, I've got plenty of time, I'll do it later. I want to live a little. I got a good question. I ought to call Ramsey up and tell him this. Do you want to live a little or do you want to live a lot?
Amen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you want to live a little or do you want to live a lot? Because that's where we get in trouble. Man, I've worked hard all week. I know we ain't got the money, but let's go out and get a ribeye. We got a credit card.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You say, well, that don't happen in my life. Well, it does happen in folks' lives every single week.
Amen.
Do you want to live a little or do you want to live a lot? Why not just pay off more debt now and enjoy more freedom later? The joy, anybody want to agree with this one? The joy of paying off a debt is one of the greatest feelings this side of heaven.
Oh yeah. Amen.
I'm telling you, in the physical realm, paying off a debt is wow.
Amen.
I love it when they call in Dave Ramsey and say, we're debt free.
Yeah.
If you've not heard that yet, keep listening. Somebody will call in and they'll tell their story about 3 years. We were $150,000 in debt and we did baby step 1 and baby step 2. And some of you don't know what I'm talking about because you ain't picked up your textbook yet. But baby step 1, baby step 2, baby step 3, and baby step 4, and on it goes. And then they get down and say, we're debt free. That is so awesome.
Yeah.
I love it. It encourages me. It makes me enthusiastic. Amen. To stay on track. The joy of paying off a debt is a feeling like no other. You can still enjoy your life while paying off debt, but you got to learn priorities.
Yeah.
And you got to learn what's important and what's not important. There's many reasons to pay off debt now rather than later, but one of the biggest is that you never know what's going to happen tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's why you can't say, I've got plenty of time. If you wait and pay off your debt, instead spend your money on things you don't need, you can fall in a bad situation. What if the economy fails?
Yeah.
What if your company goes out of business? What if a church runs you off? I mean, you've got to understand that. What would happen if you lost your job? Come across a high medical expense. Something catastrophic happens in your family and you've got unexpected expenses. And I mean, wouldn't it be nice if all your debt was gone?
Mm-hmm. Amen.
This past week, I went to my accountant, expecting to get somewhere between $4,000 and $6,000 back, because that's what happened last year. And everything on my papers looked about the same, But when I went, instead of getting $4,000 to $6,000 back, I had to pay $4,000. And you know what was really wonderful? I'm being real transparent. Is I took that paper, went right to my office, signed my stuff, wrote 2 checks, put them in the mail. That's freedom.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. Oh, you must make a lot of money. I don't make a lot of money, but Dave Ramsey and biblical principles makes that possible.
Amen.
And that is a blessing.
Amen.
That is a blessing. It ain't always been that way. I'm gonna tell you, if you'd caught me 9 years ago and that had happened, we'd be freaked out.
Yeah.
Get a credit card. Go get a credit card. I'm just being honest with you.
Yes, sir.
I'm just being honest with you. And you can have that. You're not alone was how I ended last week. Number 2, why people struggle financially. Because they're paying for cable that they can't afford.
Yes, sir.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
You didn't just say that. I got to watch my TV. You know, you probably got a stash of DVDs that could get you through a year.
Oh yeah.
Oh, did I just say that? I said you probably got a stash of DVDs in your home, or you could probably, hey, you want DVDs? Come to my house. I got a whole stash that the kids had for years. We never watched them. We got Netflix. We got Disney Plus. We got Prime. We got Hulu. So you pay for all them? No, we share. Don't turn me in. But hear me well. Take a year off. You know what the average cable bill in America is? $123.
Yeah. That's true.
$123 for the average cable bill. And you take a year off of cable and you can save $1,500.
Yep.
That's right.
Are y'all with me?
Yeah.
You just got to think a little bit. How about this one? Number 3, you cannot treat your credit card as income.
That's right.
You cannot treat your credit card. A credit card is not some new income source.
No.
Get one in the mail. Oh boy, we just hit the jackpot. We got $5,000 we can spend. You got about $25,000 you're getting ready to pay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That $5,000 credit card ends, you need to see $25,000 owed.
Yeah.
If you get it out for that. Minimum payments on that 20+%. Well, anyhow, I know that's, well, so-and-so has debt. I mean, they're in debt. Many people compare the amount of debt they have to other people's debt.
Yeah.
And it makes them feel normal.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'd rather compare my lack of debt and make me feel weird.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Dave Ramsey, if you listen to him, he'll talk about weird people.
Yeah.
I want to be a weird person.
Amen.
I want people to say, what? You don't owe for your home? You don't owe for a car? You don't have student loans? What? Are you serious? How'd that happen? Baby step 1, baby step 2, and on it goes. Who cares what a person in debt thinks about me?
That's right.
And who
That's right.
cares? How exactly does knowing what the average amount of debt at random, how does that affect you personally? This thing's a personal thing. Did you know the average credit card debt in America, the average is over $8,000 per family?
Yeah.
The average. I don't know where you fall into that. I don't know if y'all were honest the other day on that anonymous report, but I don't know where you fall into that, but the average falls. And by the way, 0% financing is still debt.
Yes.
That's true.
Have you ever used 0% financing? I sure have. I have. And all those times I've used it, not one time have I ever paid one dime of interest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very careful. You got to be very careful doing that. If you're disciplined
right.
enough to do it, then have at it. But if you're not disciplined enough to do it, stay away from it.
Yeah.
Right.
Because when that is accrued and it comes due, buddy, you're gonna be.
Yeah.
It ain't no 0% financing.
That's right.
Oh, well, I bought cars 0% financing. That's why I buy new cars. When you walked off the lot, drove off that lot, you lost about 10 grand on that new car.
Yeah.
Best I figure, that's a lot of interest.
That's
Yep.
true. Yeah.
Let's just think a little bit. We're such sheep in America.
Yeah.
That's true.
We just follow along with what's normal.
Yeah.
Amen. You can't treat that credit card as income. Number 4, here's reason people struggle. Because they believe they deserve the items that they are going to buy.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you may be awesome. And you may think that you deserve something. But should you really be buying it? Always the question, do I really need this? Should I really be buying this? Just because somebody else bought a 100-inch TV, don't mean you have to have it.
Yeah.
Just because somebody else lives in a 5,000 square foot house, don't mean you have to. My wife and I, our home is 1,750 square feet. We built it 5 years ago, 5 years ago. And I wish I'd built it less than 1,000 square foot. You know what I wish? I wish Rebecca let me sell it. I'd go buy me a single wide trailer. And I'd put it up and I'd live happy. You say, you're nuts. No, I would. I don't need 1,750 square feet.
Yeah.
I look around my house all the time and say, that's wasted, that's wasted. You know what I'd build? I'd build a 1,000 square foot house. And I'd have a real tiny bedroom for the grandbaby to stay in. And I would have a nice bedroom for me and Miss Rebecca to sleep in. I'd have a nice bathroom, one, because there's only 2 of us now, with a double sink. Hello. And that's right. Every married couple needs a double
That's
sink.
right, man. Yep.
Bedroom, double sink bathroom, small bedroom for the grandbabies, a good sized family room, open with a kitchen, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could live in that. Place to sleep, place to shower, place to watch some TV, place to cook, place to play with my grandbabies, and I'm happy. 1,000 square feet, I could get by with it. We could live on a whole lot less.
Oh yeah.
Amen.
Oh, but no, man, I make enough money, I can have 5,000 square foot. What do you need 5,000 square foot for?
Yeah.
Right.
What? I mean, if you're 19 kids and counting, go for it.
Yeah.
But if you've got 2 youngins, 1,500 square foot's plenty.
Yeah.
Oh, but I went to my neighbor's house, and man, he's got this and that, and they got a special room for this, and they got learn to prioritize your life.
Amen.
I'm trying to help us. Just because they got a nice car don't mean you have to have a nice car. But I like a nice car. Make me feel good on Friday night when I go out with my woman. All the gadgets. Got a friend, every time a new iPhone comes out, even though his is working fine, as soon as that new iPhone comes out, no matter how high it is, immediately he's at the store buying that new iPhone. That's dumb.
Yeah.
That's dumb. And I know this is online and people probably see it and hear these references, but you know what? That's dumb.
Yeah.
That's dumb. I had a phone a while back. Miss Rebecca was like, please go get you a phone. Please. I said, it's still working. I finally got tired of I'd send out a message and send out 12 at a time. Look at Brother Chris.
Yes.
Brother Chris would text me and I'd be like, okay, and he'd go, okay. And finally, because I'm telling you, man, I didn't need it. They might have needed it, but I didn't. But I finally went, bit the bullet, and bought me new. And I'm planning on this baby lasting me just as long as it will go. My computer, I just bought a brand new computer last year. Counted off on my taxes, didn't help me very much. But bought me a new computer last year. Do you know how long I had the computer before I bought that computer? And y'all know computers. Do you know how long my computer I'd had it? 11 years. 11. What? That's pretty unheard of.
That's amazing.
11 years I had already rebuilt it. Amen. I had already rebuilt it once. I didn't feel like doing that again. So I went and bought me a new computer and I was amazed how fast that got. But I'm just trying to help y'all to understand you can live on less.
Yeah.
We throw money away. You don't always deserve the items you buy. By thinking you deserve everything, you're making yourself have no money. Instead, you should be realistic with your financial situation and only buy, this is a novel idea, only buy what you can afford.
Amen. Yes, sir.
What? Man, what kind of concept is that? One we need in Washington, one we need in Raleigh, one we need on Main Street, America.
Yes, sir.
Is only buying what you can afford. Amen. Number 5. A lot of people struggle with money because they're paying too much for their cell phone.
Yeah.
That's the truth. I'm not going to go into that.
Yeah.
But listen. Ooh, I'm probably going to get in real trouble right here. I lived 25 years on this earth without a cell phone and survived.
Yep.
And if I had to, I could live without it again.
Yeah.
Amen.
Me and my wife, a couple years ago, Lydia was on my plan. Becca and me were on my plan. Rebecca had went to Verizon Wireless. I'm talking, she had walked into the very pits of hell itself.
Yes, sir.
And done something to my account. And she got this mini iPad, boy, they just hung her out to dry that night. Sorry, Becca, if you're watching this, but I tried not to fuss, but it did make me. As soon as that contract was up, I looked at her, I said, I don't care if I have to use a homing pigeon, I ain't ever paying Verizon another $1. And I drop calls sometimes, but you know what? I used to not have a cell phone in my car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine that. And it gets aggravating. So I know there's places right now in Jonesville, North Carolina, where I will go, and it'll be like bump, bump. I'm like, but $50 a month, praise God. 50. You can do better than Verizon. You can do better than Sprint.
Yep.
You can do better than AT&T.
Yep.
That's
You
true.
can. You need to check it out.
That's
You
true.
need to, well, anyhow, y'all looking at me like I'm crazy.
You all right?
Number 6. Why people struggle with money? Because they don't have a budget.
Yep.
If you don't have a budget, or if your budget's not good, that's one reason you're not saving any money. A good, realistic budget, and I'm gonna try to talk to y'all about. I might even bring our Miss Bree in on this one, maybe to help me with budgeting and things and how to teach that, because she was in the banking industry for so long. But a good and realistic budget can help a person and or family manage their money better. And I would say this: if you're having a problem budgeting, Bree would sit down with you. We've done it with Mercy and Truth Ministries. We've sit down with families that struggle, and man, she could help you talk to you about different things. If you want to do that, I know she would sit down and help you know how to budget. I know she would, and I will. And it's very important. Just a simple piece of paper, writing down what your budget is. I mean, every single thing that you pay out. And it's not hard to do. You can look on your online statement of your bank and see everything that you spend out. And there's times I go through my online statement. That needs to go, that needs to go, that needs to go, what was I thinking? Budget. Help you realize where you're going wrong. How to fix a financial issue you're having. And a lot of people are afraid to create a budget, because that means they're actually going to come face to face with their out of control spending.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
It's about time we start acting like adults.
You might.
Amen.
Most people run their finances like a 3-year-old in the Walmart line. I want it.
That's true.
Mr. Ramsey will say, grow up, act like an adult.
Yeah.
I like that. I need to be told that. Somebody hear me?
You might.
Now, number 7, this is a pretty good one. You don't have any money because you keep making excuses of why you don't have any money. Everybody's guilty of making excuses. I know people that continue making until they realize that they're making excuses, that they're just that, excuses. Just think about the last time you said this: that won't work for me because, probably in the last 20 minutes. That won't work for me, maybe last Tuesday. Maybe when you were reading Dave Ramsey's book this week or listening to a podcast. Well, that won't work for me. There's plenty of legitimate reasons why people have financial setbacks, but there's too many people that just make excuses for why they have not achieved their goals. Amen. Problem with making excuses is that it creates habits.
Yes, sir.
It creates habits, and that can hold you back. To put it simply, excuses prevent you from living the life you want. You are giving up before you ever even began to try.
Yep.
Stop making excuses. Number 8, why people struggle. You're going to like this one. Because your car's too expensive.
Yep.
Yep.
I was talking to my wife yesterday about selling my truck. She said, "When do you want to sell your truck?" I said, "I can take that money and use it on something. I go buy me a little beat around truck." No, you like the truck. I said, "Dear God, it's already 12 years old. It's a 2008. I said, "Anybody want to buy it? I'll sell it to you tonight." I'm serious. I'll sell it to you tonight. Clean as a pin. Just had it detailed this week. It's clean. It's ready to go. I'll sell it to you tonight. But here's the average. Everything I got's for sale, except my wife and my grandbabies. You can have my young ones. Your car's too expensive. That's why people struggle.
Yeah.
Did you know, listen to this now, these are American statistics. The average new car payment, I about swallowed my tongue when I read this.
Yeah.
The average new car payment, is $550.
Yeah. It's crazy.
It's crazy.
Crazy.
500. Charlie Branch, you listening to this preacher? $550. Well, I'll buy a used one. The average used car payment is $393.
Crazy. Yeah.
Well, I'll lease a car. Come here. The average lease is $452. Dave Ramsey calls them fleece agreements. Boy, isn't that sad considering many take out high interest loans to pay for a car?
Yep.
While $550 could be affordable to some of us in here, I'm going to assume it's a lot of money for the rest of us.
Yep.
All right, then you got to put gas in it, you got to maintain it, you got to insure it, you got to pay tax on it, you got to get registration. That number of $550 just keeps going up.
Yep.
I'm telling you, you can find a deal, work for it. When I go to look for a car, I work for it. You know what I just think of it as? I'm making money right now.
Amen.
I'm on my job right now. I'm making money. Chris Collins can help you find a car.
Amen.
I'm telling him and Heather beat all I ever seen buying stuff. That's the way to do it, ain't it?
Way to do it.
All right, if you're spending too much on your car expenses, that'll lead to you not having any money. Here's a good rule of thumb: if you have to borrow money on a car, it should never be more than 15% of your monthly income. Your payment should not be more than 15%. Try to get it down to 10%. That means if you make $3,000 a month, you shouldn't go over $350 a month on a car payment. That's way too high. Are y'all hearing me? If you get your car, say you start these baby steps and you get your car paid off, with that excess money, you still need to make that payment. But you need to make it to an account that has replacement fund on it. And that way, when you get ready to buy a vehicle, you walk in there and say, how much that vehicle gonna cost me?
Yeah.
And you say, all right, if I go get you a cashier's check right now for that amount, how much is that vehicle gonna cost me? And then you buy that baby outright,
Amen.
and it's gonna drive a whole lot better.
Amen.
It is gonna drive a whole lot better. Ain't no car in the world that drives like the one that's paid for.
That's right. Amen.
Oh, buddy. But you need to not just have a paid for car, because you're going to have to replace it in the next 5 years. Maybe 6, maybe 7, hopefully 10. But so you need to be putting money back. And then guess what? What if your replacement fund's got $25,000 in it and you only buy a car for $12,000?
Yep.
Whoa!
Yeah.
13 grand that you can go max out your wife's IRA and your IRA for the next year with $12,000, and still got $1,000 to put on vacation.
Amen.
I mean, well, that don't work like that. Excuses.
That's right.
It does work that way.
Yep.
Number 9, and I got to roll. You confuse. Here's why people are poor. Here's why people are broke. Here's why people struggle. You confuse wants and needs.
Yep.
And I said this last week. If your needs are not being met, your wants are out of control.
That's right.
Some items are needs, but a lot of things people buy are most likely wants. I'm going to tell you something right here. Well, you probably ought to don't cut it off, but probably ought to, because I'm probably going to get a call from Peter. If you're struggling financially, you should not have a pet.
That's right.
That's
Amen.
true.
That's dumb.
That's true.
I know people can't even buy groceries, but they got 1,400 cats.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
If you're struggling financially, you shouldn't be chewing tobacco,
Amen.
That's right.
smoking cigarettes,
Amen.
cigars.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's not a need, that's a want.
Yes, sir.
That's right.
If your children don't have decent shoes, but you still smoking 2 packs a day,
Yeah.
there's something wrong somewhere.
Amen.
You got your priorities out of whack.
Amen.
Right. Amen.
There's a difference between wants and needs. If you're not making your house payment, but you still got cable, that's
Yeah.
moronic.
Yes, sir.
Amen. Yes, sir.
Your pantries are empty, but Netflix is awesome.
Yeah. Amazing.
There's 4 things that you actually need. I'm going to tell you what it is. 4 things you need. You need a roof. You need a certain amount of clothing. Some food and some water.
Yep.
What else do you really need? Did y'all hear that? You need a roof over your head. You need a certain amount of clothing. Please get a certain amount of clothing.
Amen.
And if you're struggling, you can find deals. You can go to Goodwill.
Yeah.
And people that make $100,000 still ought to shop for good deals.
Yes,
Oh, but I got plenty of money. I can go buy what I want to. Go ahead, you'll still struggle.
Yeah.
Even though you're making 6 figures, you're struggling just like you were when you made 20,000.
Right.
Something's wrong here and not here in the pocketbook.
That's right.
Okay, so you really only need a place to live, a certain amount of clothing, food, and water. That's it. Some people think cell phones are a necessity. Oh, or a bigger house are a necessity, or gym membership, or cable, or going to a restaurant. Those are not necessary. Those are luxuries.
Amen.
You need to determine what's a luxury and what's a necessity. I got to roll. Number 10. Some people struggle because they think they have time to save later. I'm not going to go on into that one. You can read about it. Number 11. Some people struggle because they don't have goals. You can't save money if you don't have goals.
That's right.
People who set goals, listen, is it important to set goals? Yes, in the ministry, in your personal life, in your family's life, setting goals. Did you know people that set goals are 10 times more likely to reach that goal than people that do not? How about that? And if you're not setting goals, you're not working towards anything, and you're not motivated enough to improve your future. Number 12, here's a reason, and we read this over there in the Word of God, Proverbs 13:11. Number 12, why people struggle and don't save money, because they don't think that a little bit adds up. You may have no money because you don't think the saving smaller amounts of money will help you. And I've heard people say, I don't, or I can't save money because it don't matter. Sure it matters. Well, it's only $100 extra in the budget, so I just didn't worry about it. $100 extra in the budget over a year is going to be $1,200, my friend.
That's right.
$1,200 is better than zero.
That's right.
Amen. Number 13, why people struggle is because they did not have an emergency fund.
That's right.
And something happened, and they were living paycheck to paycheck, and then all of a sudden, a $500 extra thing come up, and next thing you know, they got to go rob Peter to pay Paul. I'm telling you. According to Bankrate.com, 26% of Americans do not have any emergency fund whatsoever. Nothing above paycheck to paycheck. 1 out of 4 Americans. 26%. How about this one? 40% only have enough to cover 3 months. That's frightening to me as a pastor, because guess what? It's going to fall back on folks that, I need help. I need help. I need help. I'm not against helping people that really need it, but I get tired of bailing people out of their stupidity.
Yes, sir. Amen. Go ahead, preacher.
Oh, that's all I'm making people mad at.
That's right.
Y'all are happy, but that people online, they're mad at me right now. And then I put some things in here about emergency funds, how they're helpful in situations. You can read about that. Oh, number 14. Everybody buckle up. Oh, buckle up. Number 14, why I'm struggling financially, because you eat out too much.
Yep.
I struggle with this one.
Yeah.
I struggle with this, and I'm not craving a sandwich, Rebecca. I'm not craving hamburger helper. I'm craving Chick-fil-A. I'm craving Dodge City.
Yes, sir.
I'm craving Longhorn. Some of y'all want to go eat out right now. Eating out's killing us.
Yes, sir.
This is a fact, Jack. Look up here and hear this. The average restaurant cost for a 4-person meal is $46.90 plus your tip.
That's true. Yes, sir. That's fine.
And the average cost for a home prepared meal, no tip, $25.64. So you're going to be well over $50 for 4 people eating out on average, or you can eat at home for $25.
Yeah.
And if you do better, I mean, if I go down here to 6, 7 pizza, me and Miss Rebecca, it'd be $21.
Yeah.
I can go to Food Line, buy frozen pizza, Red Bear, pretty good for $5 or less. I get it on sale.
Yeah.
Everybody okay?
Yeah.
It's true.
Yes, sir.
It's just a matter of how serious you are about getting your finances under control.
Yeah.
Number 15. This one hurts. Why do people struggle? Because they have expensive hobbies.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. But preacher, everybody needs a little bit of relaxation. Everybody needs needs to have some fun. I agree with that. You ought to do it in moderation.
That's right.
Number
Amen.
one. And then when your entertainment budget gets out of control, you need to sit down and prioritize activities and learn to say no.
Yeah.
Amen.
There may be some Sunday nights that your buddy at church says, hey, let's go eat, and you have to say, I can't go tonight.
Yeah.
They don't have to know that you ain't got extra.
Yeah.
Just say, oh man, we already got something planned. You know, just shake it off and then go home and eat a bologna sandwich. I love bologna sandwiches.
All right.
Amen.
Load it up with mayonnaise and have a blast.
Yes, sir. Yes,
And a
sir.
little mustard. Now, I'll tell you this. One of the ways to cut spending is find inexpensive hobbies or free hobbies.
Yep.
There are tons of things you can do to have a great night of family fun and it not cost you any extra penny.
Amen.
Well, that's just not living. No, not living. Not living is worrying month after month after month with not having anything and wondering when it comes time for you to die or live the last days of your life before you die that you don't have any dignity.
Yeah.
That's what's not living.
Amen.
Mooching off other people. That's what's not living.
Yep.
Phone call. Hey, you owe such as, I know we're struggling. That's not living.
That's right.
Number
Right.
16. Why people struggle because they're on the wrong side of interest. Interest can either make you very, very rich or it can make you very, very poor.
That's right.
Which,
Right.
I mean, right now, you don't have to raise your hand, you don't have to speak out, but in your life right now, which side of the interest scale are you? Is interest making you money or is interest costing you money? Where are you at? All right, you need to really think about that. Debt is the biggest tax you'll ever pay.
Yep.
All right, let's go on. Number 17. You don't make enough money. That's one reason.
Amen.
You don't make enough money. Well, preacher, I'm working, I'm doing, and I got a lot to say about that. But you can work on how you can create some passive income.
Yep.
Extra. Oh, I can't do nothing extra. Let me just give you the average. And don't make an excuse.
That's
I
right.
done told you. Well, that don't apply to me. That's an excuse. Let me give you the average. Y'all ready for this? The average American spends 7 hours per day between television and social media.
Sure.
Absolutely.
I can see that. Mm-hmm.
And if you don't believe that, everybody get your smartphone out and check your face. Check it. Just do it. You'll see. Average American spends 7 hours. That's a job right there.
Yeah.
That's it. Yep.
You add that up, Charlie Branch, that's 49 hours a week.
Mm-hmm.
But let's take it even further. 49 hours out of 168 hours that is wasted with social media or TV, that is 30% of your week.
Yep.
And if you live 70 years, that means you spent 21 years in front of a TV or social media.
Yep.
Wow.
But you ain't got time to make a little extra money.
You killed you.
Well, I love y'all, I do. That's why I'm helping. Let's go to Matthew 6. This is lesson number 2. And I'm not going to stay on this one, all right? Matthew chapter number 6. In the first lesson, I hope this is helping y'all. If you
Amen.
listen,
Amen.
and listen, get a hold of Ramsey's book and read it and engulf yourself in it. Don't go too far and become obsessed with money. I'm not, just like we talked about with the demons. Don't get obsessed with it. Just be aware.
Amen.
Okay? But Matthew chapter 6, this is the Sermon on the Mount. The first lesson we said, money a secret. Second lesson I just taught, money a struggle. Number 3, money, it is spiritual. This is lesson 3. And as a pastor, I constantly get calls of people that are needing financial assistance, financial help. People that are in the church, people that are out of the church. And I'm not against helping people that are in trouble, but at some point people need to take responsibility for their own actions.
Amen.
Here's the 3 things you need to ask yourself if you start struggling. Number 1, you need to say, is my tithing current?
Yeah.
Is my tithe current?
Amen.
Have I missed the tithe? Did I miss $100 that I didn't tithe on? I'm gonna say it again. Is my tithe current?
Amen.
Yeah, it's good.
Bunch of these liberal modernists that wanna, oh, you shouldn't use that, make people feel, it's the Bible, my friend.
Yes, sir.
Amen.
Amen.
Yeah. Yeah. Go
Jesus said, these things ought ye have to have done.
Yeah.
Ought ye to have done. He said that in the New Testament. And he's talking about tithing and fasting.
Yeah.
These things ought ye to have done. So don't tear, well, it's in the Old Testament. Yeah, in the New Testament, they sold everything and gave it to the church.
That's right.
Yeah.
I like 10%.
Amen.
Yes. Yeah. Amen.
Kindergarten, 11.
Yeah.
10% is just where you start.
Yeah.
It's just where you start.
Right.
Then you go above that with missions, and go above that with alms,
Amen.
giving to the
Yes,
poor,
sir.
and go above that with special offerings. Amen and amen,
Amen.
and
Amen.
amen. So
Good.
number one, here I am struggling. Am I current in my tithes? Number two, have I been faithful to God, my church, and my family? And number three, are there any unnecessary items on the budget? And those three things, if you will ask yourself that question, are my tithes current? Have I been faithful to God, family, and church? And have I taken all unnecessary things off of my budget? I'll promise you this, unless you've just gotten yourself head over heels, it may take you time to get out of it. But if you're not head over heels in debt and you start living by those three principles, there's not a person in this room that cannot succeed financially. Now Jesus, Matthew 6, I know we live in a cynical and skeptical society. They don't trust police, they don't trust preachers, they don't trust politicians, they don't trust anything anymore. And there's a reason for that. A lot of people have been let down.
Yeah.
People don't like for a preacher to discuss money.
Right.
They don't.
Go ahead.
Preachers preach on money, and more
Yeah.
people don't like it. It's like the story of the little boy that swallowed a quarter, and the mom was going nuts. Oh, honey, 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 Johnny swallowed a quarter, Johnny swallowed a quarter, call the doctor. The preacher goes, gets his phone, and dials and said, hey, preacher, we need you to come to the house. He gets off the phone, she said, what in the world? Did you call the preacher? I told you to call the doctor. He said, if anybody can get money out of somebody, it's our preacher. But people don't like it when the preacher talks about money.
No, they don't.
But money is a spiritual issue. And the Bible has a lot to say about it. Jesus made money a spiritual issue in our text. Matthew 6, verse number 19 through verse number 34. And I'm not going to read all of this. I want you to read it. It's in your notes, and I want you to go home and read it. But I call this the Sermon on the Amount. Okay? The Sermon on the Mount, this section, you all right, Dakota? Pretty good, ain't it? The Sermon on the Amount.
That's good.
Because Jesus here deals with money. The word money is in the Bible is mentioned 125 times. The word money. The word silver is mentioned 286 times. The word gold is mentioned 365 times. And the word treasure or treasures is mentioned 93 times. In the scripture, you also have mentions of trading, bartering, buying, selling. There's coins in the Bible mentioned: the mite, the farthing, the penny, the pound, the shekel, the talent. And so money is a personal subject, but it's also a theological subject. And I want to give you this right here. There's three theological concepts when it comes to money. All right? And let me give them to you. Number one is the poverty theology. The poverty theology. There are some Bible believers, some Christians, church people, saved folk, that have poverty theology thinking. They think of money in a poor manner. It's an imbalanced view that we should disdain possessions and we should hate any thought of having possessions, and God is God to the poor, and we're spiritual because of it. Poverty theology. Oh yeah, it's all over Baptist churches.
Yeah.
Some hold that position that it's wrong to have any excess in money or things. God does love the poor, but being poor should not make you feel less or more in your standing with God. But they do. And some folks will even say, God keeps some people poor. I'd like to have chapter and verse for that.
Yeah.
Amen.
I would say that God keeps some people from wealth,
Yes.
but I don't think God keeps people poor.
No.
God's no respected persons.
That's right.
Right.
And if God's not blessing you with money, it may be your problem. It is your problem, not His problem.
Right.
So wouldn't it do well to figure out the principles that you're not living by so God can trust you?
Amen.
Amen.
God's no respected person. Churches shouldn't be respected persons. Pastors shouldn't be respected persons. I've never shunned anybody in the ministry for being poor. I've run from them from being nasty.
Yeah.
But I've never shunned them for being poor.
That's right.
Getting an altar. What can I help you pray about? Blessed Mary, Mother of Grace, help me as my
Demon in there.
help me with my melted face, I guess. I mean, even if you're poor, you can scrub your armpit.
That's right. Amen.
Brush your teeth.
Yeah.
But anyhow, I know churches that shun poor people.
You're right.
Yeah.
That shun. I'm gonna tell you, I got folks in my church, probably millionaires. Got folks in my church probably more money in debt than they got in the bank.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? That ain't got anything to do with how I treat them, because that's
Right.
not. That is wicked to think that God has a relationship based on money.
Right.
So does that have, oh yeah, that has an effect on this, on Christian. Our preachers preach that poverty theology, that we're to have, we're to disdain possessions. So, and they'll use that verse, the love of money is the root of all evil. And they'll say money's wicked. Money's not wicked.
No.
Loving it's wicked.
That's right.
Amen.
Using it wrong is wicked.
That's right.
But not money itself.
Amen.
I don't believe it's wrong to have money. I believe it's wrong for money to have you.
Sir.
Amen. Yes, sir.
I'll tell you what, our preacher, church bought him that new Cadillac. That Cadillac's gonna ruin him. You still go to your doctor and he drives a Mercedes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I ain't going back down thanks to Calvary. All they want is my money. You go to Walmart, all they want is your money too.
That's right.
Amen.
Yeah.
Poverty
Way
theology.
to look at it.
Number two, poverty theology, where people in Christianity look down and say we're to be poor. We're to be poor. But then there's a second, which is the other ditch, that's prosperity theology.
Mm-hmm.
Prosperity theology is the wrong teaching that assumes that prosperity is the reward of the righteous, the cause and effect of a relationship with God. Because God is happy with you, He'll bless you financially. If He's not pleased with you, you won't be blessed with possessions. And I've got in your notes what prosperity theology teaches. One thing is that the Abrahamic covenant is about material entitlement.
Wow.
You watch all these things on television, these jacklegs on there, that prosperity gospel, they believe that we fall under the Abrahamic covenant, that God blessed Abraham financially, so you're under that covenant, He'll bless you financially. That is not so. Second thing is they believe that the atonement of Jesus Christ extends to the sin of material poverty. That He atoned for your sin of being poor, so therefore you can be rich because of what Jesus did on the cross. And then the third thing they believe is Christians give in order to gain material compensation from God. And you got to be careful as a Baptist not to say that.
Yeah.
Give and it shall be given. Give and it shall be given. We got to be careful not to use that too strongly.
That's right.
Now, I do believe this, that God is a debtor to no man.
Yeah.
I believe God takes care of His own. I've never seen the righteous forsaken nor seed begging bread. That's in the book, but you hear me and hear me well. God does not have to compensate me for putting my tithes.
That's right.
That's right.
Amen.
Yes, sir.
Exactly right.
Number 4, they teach faith as a self-generated spiritual force that leads to prosperity. You generate faith in yourself. You generate a force of faith in yourself that will lead you to prosperity. The Bible teaches that faith is a gift from God.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Number 5, they teach that prayer is a tool that forces God to grant prosperity. It's kind of a God-man quid pro quo transaction. Y'all know that term, don't you?
Yeah.
But it ain't so. If the prosperity gospel is true, then grace is obsolete.
That's right. Yeah.
That's deep waters. Go home and think on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
If I can't do anything to make God save me, then why do I think I can do something to make God financially secure me?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
If I did nothing to be eternally secure, then I can do nothing with God to be financially secure.
That's right.
Think on that now. But that's what they teach. Then you can, you know what they teach, but then how do you identify a prosperity preacher? Number one is the absence of serious doctrine.
That's right.
Yeah.
The absence of biblical necessity and normalcy of suffering.
Yeah.
They don't, hello, the Bible teaches that the righteous are going to suffer.
Right.
And then the absence of the doctrine the absence of self-denial.
Yeah.
That doctrine of self-denial. That ought to be a tip-off. Something not right here.
That's true.
Because all he's preaching about is how I can give. That's anti-Christian. That's not taking up your cross, following him, and denying yourself.
Amen.
And then the third thing is an absence of serious exposition of the Word of God.
That's right.
Yeah.
You don't see them going line upon line, precept upon precept. You see them picking out certain verses.
Yeah.
And number four, you can identify a prosperity theologist theologian because of the absence of dealing with tensions in Scripture. And number five, you can identify a prosperity theologian because the church leaders love exorbitant lifestyles.
Mm-hmm.
A prominence of self and a marginalization of God's greatness. Promote self, bring God to your level. That's prosperity preaching. Now the proper way, you got poverty theology, you got prosperity theology, and you got proper theology. Now, I'm going to take Jeremiah out for supper. Anybody got $20? You were very willing to give me that back, aren't you? You know why? Because I gave it to you to start. When you think about God, here's proper theology. Proper theology is this. That the way we need to view our possessions is that they are a trust given by God, just like I gave Brother Oscar, and that we're responsible to manage it. Okay? The reason he had no problem giving that $20 back to me, it was because it was mine to start with.
That's good.
And when you start thinking about what you earn in a weekly job, and you get mad because you got to give God, I mean, he gave you all of it. He only wants 10% plus
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good deal. And I've never given God anything. Y'all didn't hear that, did you?
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm.
I don't know if I've ever given him any. Oh, but
Sure,
you was
it's all
giving him
him.
glory Sunday.
Jeez.
Every bit of strength I did, lifting my hand, was God
Yeah.
given.
That's right.
Amen. Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's think on that.
That's right.
That's true.
Everything I have, every dollar in my account, every string of energy I have in my body, everything I have is already God's.
Yes, sir.
And that's proper theology. That's when you know it's already His, you have no problem doing what you need to do for the ministry. And by the way, let me say this. Don't you think we ought to be good stewards with what is already
Amen.
God's?
Yes, sir.
You brought nothing into this world, and you're going to take nothing else, nothing out. Everything you have, the clothes on your back, the shoes on your feet, the vehicle that you drove, the house that you live in, the food that you're going to eat, it's all borrowed from your Creator. So we might want to have proper theology and start managing what's God's, and stop abusing what's God's.
Mm.
I know that's convicting. I've never given God anything. When we make an offering or a tithe, we're giving what He already owns.
Amen.
Americans are struggling with materialism. Money Magazine declares that money is now the number one obsession of Americans. Newsweek reports that we've reached a new plane of consciousness called transcendental acquisition. Transcendental acquisition, which means we cannot maintain a life of extravagance and maintain good conscience simultaneously. Anybody ever felt guilty of the stuff you waste? Sure you do. Why? Because you can't maintain a life of extravagance and have a good conscience simultaneously. That's why we have an outlet called tithe. That's why we have an outlet called missions giving. That's why we have an outlet called alms giving.
Amen.
Because what that does is that helps us to say, hey, I've been a good steward over God's money, and I've got my finances in order where I can give to the kingdom of God. That's proper theology. Live like no one else lives so you can live and give like no one else does. So this Sermon on the Mount, found in Matthew 5 through 7, this little excerpt here, 19 to 34, Jesus starts giving some insight and practical teaching about finances and the subject of money. And so I'm going to look at that next week. It's a big part of our life. Money's a big part. We live for money. We work for money. We think about money. We wish we had more money. We worry about money. And in this passage, Jesus asks a question about where's your treasure. And next week, not next week, but the next time I'm here, that's what I'm going to teach on out of this passage. Where's your treasure? So I hope I'm helping y'all. I hope you get something out of it. I've got copies of both of the notes tonight. Money, a struggle. Money, it is spiritual. So make sure you get one of those before you go. All right?
Sure.
Sure.